and we're ready to kick off our 2021 annual general membership meeting and our annual Distinguished Citizen Award ceremony, where we will be honoring our 2020 recipients as well as our 2021 recipients. I want to start off the meeting. Bring welcome. I'm Dustin Seaton, the Vice President of Membership for the Washington County Historical Society. Thank you all for joining us. As I said previously, that we wanted to be on site. We had planned on being at the Mount Sequoia Center as we were in 2019, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic and just in the safety interests of all, we decided to do it virtually last year and then again virtually this year. But I want to thank you all for joining us from wherever you are. We know there are people from all around the country that are joining us from the safety of their homes today, calling in, Zooming in. And hopefully this is not the new normal, but it is what we're getting used to, even though we heard some say this is their first Zoom. Traditionally, we have, like when we do this on site, it's more of an intimate setting where we have a plated lunch and we announce our slate of officers and things like that. But this year, because of the Zoom format, we're able to open this up widely all around for anybody that's willing to join. And so I appreciate you all that are here to join us today. But with that being said, it is my privilege to turn over the program, even though it is our 70th anniversary, I should say, as a historical society. It is my honor to now turn the program to our president, Mr. Jim Spillers. So, Jim, I think you might have to unmute.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Just to give you an idea of why you see my background like this, as Dustin mentioned, we're coming to you from all over the place. I'm actually at the Pea Ridge Battle reenactment today, and this morning we did some film work on a movie. So interesting times we live in, but I'm very thankful for technology that I can zoom in today. Again, good afternoon and welcome to everyone in attendance at our second Zoom version of our annual meeting for the Washington County Historical Society. I've been honored to serve these past 2 years as your president. Simply being a member of the board has been a dream come true for me because I grew up loving the Headquarters House Museum and the history of our county and having a tremendous amount of respect for the Washington County Historical Society for its mission and devotion to preserving our county history. Now I would like to reflect on the wonderful accomplishments that our society has been involved with in these past 2 years. During the COVID situation, we've actually accomplished quite a bit. This is due to the generosity and support of our members, our board, and our friends. The Headquarters House Museum has undergone a complete exterior restoration, including a replacement of boards, window facings. It has been fully repainted. The brick walkways have been fixed and the arbor has been restored. The Yale Law Office has been re-roofed and repainted, and the porch has been restored. This was funded by both a generous grant and fundraising of our membership. The Ridge House has also seen needed repairs during this time and continues to serve as an office building for us. Our friends, the Master Gardeners, have continued to make the grounds a showplace for all of Northwest Arkansas, while keeping the gardens true to the historic nature of our museum. We have managed to continue our outreach to our community, our county, and beyond with video programs, much like the one you are currently on, many of which also have been partnered with the Shiloh Museum of Ozark History, and through the promotion of works and videos by other members. Our Heritage School program has continued, and being virtual is attracting students from around the country who could not have attended before. Our Statehood Day program was an in-person and absolutely overwhelming success, and we were blessed to have Rex Nelson as our speaker. Our December caroling program was well attended, and it was also socially distanced, as was our Zoom Diverse Settlers panel discussion, being an overwhelming success in reaching folks all over the country. Our Flashback and our Flash Forward publications have received awards, as have individual authors for articles contained in them, including 3 Walter L. Brown Awards from the Arkansas Historical Association. Our Civil War Museum display has been updated, and we have been the recipients of 2 very valuable visual representations of the Battle of Fayetteville. First is the diorama of the battle built by friend Cody Faber of Fort Smith, and the second is the painting of the charge down Dixon Street called Action at Fayetteville, April 18th, 1863, by friend Daniel Hoffbauer of Bella Vista. We're also now the custodians of the original Archibald Yale Monument that was previously located in the Evergreen Cemetery in Fayetteville. The preparation work is completed, and we will soon become part of the Arkansas Quilt Trail with the additions of 5 quilt panels at the Headquarters House Museum and 1 at the Ridge House. We were able to help recognize the historic importance of the Morrow Cabin with a National Register plaque. And today we will recognize 4 distinguished citizens for their contributions to our community. As you can see, our organization has truly flourished, and for that I am very grateful to you, our membership, for ensuring that our mission of discovering, preserving, and celebrating the history of Washington County and to share that heritage with others continues in an amazingly strong way and will continue into our future. Again, I wish to offer my gratitude to all of you who have been so supportive of our organization and of me during this time that I've been privileged to serve as your president. I cannot thank you enough for your personal support and for all you do for our organization. I now turn our annual meeting over to Bobby Brawley of the Nominations Committee to present our slate of new officers. Again, I thank you all very much.
And before we get to Bobby, we wanted to show some pictures from throughout the year, flash back, flash forward, that we have sent out quarterly, as well as Jim pointed out, all the events that we do throughout the year. Unfortunately, we have had to move a lot of ours online, or we had to cancel them due to the pandemic. The properties that our organization maintains. Generally, these are the calendar events in April through December of all the activities that we do. And pictures of our summer heritage school program with the master gardeners taking care of the property. And of course, all this couldn't be done without the generous contributions and continued membership levels of all of our members. So we appreciate all those that have renewed their membership. We are currently in our membership drive for 2022. If you have not renewed your membership, please do so. You can call us at the headquarters house to do that, or go online to washcohistoricalsociety.org. So with that said, we're going to jump to the nomination committee. Mr. Braley, if you don't mind unmuting and taking over the nomination and election of officers for 2021-2022 Board of Directors.
All right, thank you, Dustin. On behalf of the nominating committee, Bill Kincaid, Margaret Clark, Leanne Whitaker, Dave Edmark, and myself, we're very happy to thank all of our officers and directors from last year for their service in this strange COVID world. It put a lot of organizations like ourselves in difficult places, but this year we were resilient and we still found very creative ways to continue to meet, to create content, and to continue with our mission. Thanks to Peggy Chenault, our operations manager at the headquarters house. Thanks to Jim for his dedication and time this year as our president. Dustin has done such a great job with our membership, and our organization is growing because of him. Thanks to Kathy Candy and Sherry Coley for their work as recording and corresponding secretaries, and to Tim O'Donnell and Lisa Lashley for their work on our finances. It's such an integral part of what we do, but oftentimes behind the scenes and underappreciated, so we thank them. As always, Malin has been a steadfast figure for us at the Historical Society. Abigail did a wonderful job this year with our historic programs, and Patsy Watkins and Dave Edmark have just created some really great content this year in both flashback and flash forward. Thanks to all of our 20 to 2020 Board of Directors. They make us work so smoothly. We serve on a variety of committees, and really that's where we get a lot of our work done. So thank you all for your time on each of those committees. Thanks to our directors that are rolling off this year that have been so supportive in the past. John Bonner, Don DeWeese, Carolyn Leonard, and Dee Ness will all be rolling off. And so the nominating committee has met several times, and we are happy to present a slate of officers and directors for the 2021 to 2022 calendar year. You can see the chart here that Dustin has posted above, and our slate of officers that we are presenting for a proposal is for Malin to rotate back onto our board of directors. We will have Leanne Wiedeker serve as our president. Jim Spillers will become the past president after his year of service this year. Dustin Seaton for first vice president of membership. Tim O'Donnell for the second vice president of finance. Kathy Candy and Sherry Coley will continue as recording secretary and corresponding secretary. Lisa Lashley Higgins will serve as treasurer. Patsy Watkins will serve as flashback editor, and Abigail will continue as the director of historic programs. In addition, we have several new members that we have identified and met with and would like to present them for the board of directors for 21-22. And those are seen here in bold on this chart. Jan Davison, longtime resident of Fayetteville and degrees from the U of A, has worked well with the Boys and Girls Club and Richardson Center. John Furman, also Fayetteville High School graduate, BA in history from University of Michigan. He has served as Justice of the Peace here in Washington County for several years from 2009 to 2015. Rebecca Lubiker, the social science chair and athletic director at Haas Hall. Jerry Foster, a proud sixth generation native of Washington County, and Mike Johnson, recently retired and currently our Associate Vice Chancellor Emeritus for Facilities and Professor Emeritus in Civil Engineering. So we have a wonderful class of folks coming on this year, and we present those to you for the 2022 slate of officers.
I'd like to second the motion to accept these officers as brought by the nominating committee.
All right, there's a motion by the nominating committee and a second by Malin Rice. So because we're doing this electronically, I've made it to where we can see everybody's screen. If you would vote in accordance by raising your hand, if you are in favor of the motion for the 2021-2022 Board of Officers, raise your hand now. Or if you're on the phone, you can unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, hands down, same motion for voting no for the slate of officers. Having seen none, the motion carries. Congratulations to our new slate of officers.
Yay.
All right, now we're going to turn over our program to Patsy Watkins. Patsy, if you don't mind unmuting and announce the writing award winners that we've had for this year.
Sure. I'd like to start by thanking the leadership of the Historical Society, in particular Jim and Dustin and Malin, for their exceptional guidance during these past two very unusual years. They have really provided all of us a lot of support. Also, I want to thank all the writers and contributors to Flashback, several of whom are here today, for their constant curiosity about the history that provides us with some really great stories about Washington County. Historical Society presents two writing awards every year, the Walter J. Lemke Prize and the Leslie Stringfellow Reed Prize. The winners this year are Andrea Cantrell and Amanda Bancroft. Andrea is the winner of the Walter J. Lemke Prize for her article titled Working Together and Helping Others, Washington County Women's Extension Club, which we will be proud to publish in the upcoming winter 2021 issue of Flashback. Andrea, who some of you may know, is retired head of research services at the University of Arkansas Special Collections. After 8 years as caregiver for her late husband, Steve Chisholm, she continues to enjoy research on a variety of state and local history topics. One of these topics focuses on manuscript collections dealing with women's clubs, and she has published Manuscript Resources for Women's Studies, which is a critical tool for people who do research in that field. Amanda is the winner of the Leslie Stringfellow Reed Prize for her article, Mail Clerk to Marine, a word from Washington County. We look forward to publishing this article in the spring 2022 issue of Flashback. Amanda is a writer, excuse me, she's an artist and a naturalist who lives with her husband, Ryan, at the historic Johnson Farm on Kessler Mountain. Actually, they live off-grid in a tiny house. And Amanda often writes about their experiences with the tiny house on her blog, which you can find at ripplesblog.org. And I would highly recommend your checking out this blog. It's just a delight to read. She also loves the mysteries of history, which is a great phrase. This is her second time to win an award in the Historical Society writing competition. The first was in 2018. That article was about the historic Johnson Farm and also won the Arkansas Historical Association's award for Best Community Article. So I would like for us all to give a round of applause for these two winners. Very proud of them and the work that they've done. And in closing, I'd like to give a shout out to our anonymous judges who review the manuscripts for this competition. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Patsy. So now we're moving into the second part of our program today, which you're all in for a treat. We have compiled videos of our Distinguished Citizen Award winners for 2020 and 2021. So with that being said, I'm excited to turn it over to videos so that way you don't have to listen to me talk. And we will showcase each and highlight each of our award recipients by some friends and colleagues of theirs who know them best. And then due to the virtual format, we also pre-recorded their acceptance speeches. And so there are 4, each one's about 5 to 6 minutes with some varying in length, but you're in for a treat because John Irwin has spent the last 2 years editing and revising our videos for our presentation today. So with that said, I'm happy to start off. Our first recipient is Dr. Margaret Clark.
Well, let me just say that Margaret Clark is an ideal selection for Washington County Distinguished Citizen. She fits all of the criteria that we have for that award.
When I think about what one word that would describe Margaret, it's hard to say just one word. So I'm going to have 2 that describe Margaret, and that is, I feel that Margaret is an inspirational leader, or to be more exact, an inspirational doer.
I've known Margaret for 30 years since I came to Fayetteville. She's been on every important board, every important committee to many things in our community over the years.
She has made remarkable contributions to the history of Washington County. She has been a fantastic contributor to the Washington County Historical Society, and she also has helped increase the understanding and appreciation of the history of this county as well. She's done everything that we look for in a distinguished citizen.
The work that she's so passionate about and she's involved in, she's able to bring people into her fold, and then here we are doing it together. And so whether that be AAUW, Delta Kappa Gamma, Iota chapter, A+, which is an school arts program, the League of Women Voters, Democratic Women, business and professional women, starting an organization like Alpha Kappa Alpha. I mean, I can go on and on.
First, let me talk about the fact that Margaret was a true trailblazer at the University of Arkansas and in our community. She went to UAPB for her undergraduate degree in French, taught French in the Pine Bluff area for several years, and then she came to the University of Arkansas here in Fayetteville for her graduate degree. Eventually, Margaret became the first African-American faculty member at the University of Arkansas. She and Gordon Morgan came to the university around the same time.
In all of the time that I have known Margaret, she has always had at least 3 projects that she was working on at a time. And I have been involved with some of those projects, but when it came to getting the job done or recognizing when there's a need in the community, she was right on it. She would come up with an idea, and then she would continue to work on it.
One area that is a great passion for Margaret's and where she's been a real leader for the Historical Society is in the area of diverse settlers to Northwest Arkansas. Margaret has been very creative and an advocate for programming for the Historical Society with regard to African Americans, Hispanics, Marshallese, and other folks who have come to Northwest Arkansas at different periods of time.
She is very motivational, inspiring. She is someone that I choose to model my life for in the future. I try to emulate what she does, and I'm just so proud of her, and I'm just so happy, and it's an honor to call her friend, and an honor that she is receiving this recognition. She certainly deserves it.
I'm pretty sure that Margaret is the only board member in the history of the Washington County Historical Society to have a residence hall named after her at the University of Arkansas. That was something that just happened a year ago, and it was a wonderful moment for the university, and it was a great moment for Margaret and a great moment for us. We were so proud of her when that happened. That's going to be an enduring landmark to her career and her impact on the university and on our community as a whole.
Congratulations and thanks, Margaret, for your many years of service to the University of Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, and especially the Washington County Historical Society. A long time ago, you told me that history was not about old gray-bearded gentlemen in Civil War uniforms, and you've certainly proved that with your service on our board. You have brought history alive for many, many people in our community, and we thank you for it.
Margaret, congratulations to you. We're so thrilled to claim you as our distinguished citizen of Washington County. You richly deserve this recognition. We're so grateful for all you've done for the Historical Society and for our community. You're just a real treasure for all of us, and congratulations to you.
So Margaret, you can't see us all. I know you're on the phone, but if you would join me in giving a round of applause. Congratulations for being our 2020 Distinguished Citizen Award winner for Washington County Historical Society. And now I will turn it over to Margaret. She has a pre-recorded.
Yeah. I just wanted to say I want to thank all of those individuals just now who were making those complimentary remarks. I am so appreciative of everything that they said. Thank you so very much for your participation today, and I love all of you. Thank you. And I want to thank again the Washington County Historical Society, the board, and all of its members for the honor that you're bestowing upon me today.
Thank you, Margaret. And as Bill said, you are the only Historical Society member with the residence hall named after you. So I think that's enough said right there. But let me play your pre-recorded thank you and acceptance speech. Here we go.
Good afternoon. I am indeed humbled and very honored to be recognized by the Washington County Historical Society, along with Susan Parks Spencer, Shirley Spears, and especially Frank Sharp, a friend I have known for a number of years. It truly makes this a very special day for me. I am so very grateful to be one of the citizens of the year. When Bill Kincaid, someone who had been a French student of mine for one semester, asked me some years later if I would be willing to serve on the board for this organization, I was at a loss, trying to figure out what I would be able to bring to this group. I told him that I knew nothing about the history of Washington County, particularly, that I wasn't a history major, that I wasn't even someone with any special interest in history. He convinced me somehow that I would be able to contribute. So, hopefully, he is able to view this honor today as validation of his foresight. I am not here on my own, however. Over the years, there have been a number of individuals who have encouraged, inspired, and supported me. These include, but are not limited to, the ones that I am mentioning. Ann Sugg. I worked with her on a series of wine and cheese membership events that used videos and pictures of our activities. Diana Strange and Susan Hall. I worked with them on the ice cream social, which resulted in a manual of procedures that was drafted by Susan. Tom Dillard and Leslie Belden. We worked together presenting lectures. For example, one memorable one up at Tonytown with Italian goodies and wine tasting by a local winery. Then I volunteered to write a grant which set up the Diverse Settlers Committee. This was the beginning of a whole series of programs centered on the diversity of our area, from the Abrahamic faiths to ethnic groups, Native Americans, Black Americans, and Latino Americans. Asians and Pacific Islanders are on the horizon. The committee person who was most helpful with this over the years was Judy Costello, along with Alan Lord, who scheduled most of our events at the Shiloh Museum of Ozark History for free. Our presidents have been so supportive of my work with this committee, especially Jerry Hogan, who helped us get started with the Diverse Settlers, Kim Smith, who transported our program attendees from one site to another, and Malin Rice, who has helped to register our attendees and has regularly written thank you cards to our volunteer program participants. Committee members and other Washington County Historical Society members who have been so supportive and cooperative, from Alice Ann taking charge of our receptions, Mary Sanchez typing up programs at the last minute, Joshua Youngblood and Dustin Seating making our virtual Zoom programs function so effectively, Calvin White serving as a moderator for an event, and Peggy Chenault filling in wherever needed, down to and including Diana Gonzalez Worthing showing up on crutches, bringing Latino goodies, and to serve as a program presenter. These are just a few, but they illustrate particularly the fact that it takes a village to be successful. To restate my feelings, I am so honored to accept this recognition of the work I have been involved in that has added to the overall collection of material reflecting the history of Washington County, especially its diversity. Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind, that last paragraph just because that loud motorcycle, we might as well have it running, right?
I know. Okay.
All
I
right.
am so honored
What?
to accept this recognition of the work that I have been involved in that has added
Here
to
we
the
go.
overall collection
Sorry. I
of
was
material.
looking for the screen there. All right. So thank you, Dr. Clark. Margaret, you also were the ones that initially got me involved with the Washington County Historical Society Board. So thank you for all your legacy and continued effort working to make our county a better place to live. And I believe that you were our 97th or 98th award winner. So we're extremely proud of you for that. We were also proud to honor our second 2020 Distinguished Award winner, Susan Park Spencer. And again, just like with Margaret, we have some pre-recorded videos. So I'm going to share Susan's video. Here we go.
I'm Cheryl West, and Susan and I grew up in Prairie Grove, where we have been lifelong friends.
My name is Dee Ness, and I've known Susan forever because I'm from Farmington, and she is from Prairie Grove. When we were growing up, everyone just knew each other. Either you knew their families, or you knew their name, or you knew the people. It was kind of a rival town, but they were also friends and very close, so I've always known her.
Susan and I both enjoyed listening to our parents tell stories about Prairie Grove and the people and the events that shaped the history of our hometown. And I've always appreciated Susan's desire and her drive to preserve the history of our area.
I've gotten to know her really well just in these past few years. We've gotten very involved in the history and local history. And so I've found a connection with her. I love local Farmington history, and she loves local Prairie Grove history. So we do a lot of talking back and forth about that, because the towns are very intertwined with each other.
I've known Susan for about 10 years now, and we've worked on a number of projects together, historical projects, and we're on the Historical Society board also for a number of years together. I think she's deserving of this award because of the amount of work that she does in her community and for the society and for her family, for everybody. She works all the time. And when she's not working for them, then she's writing and researching history articles about them.
It's exciting to see Susan's recent publications forever documenting the history of Washington County. Two I'm very partial of is the history of the First Presbyterian Church in Prairie Grove, where her grandmother Parks was a founding member. The other is her book, War on the Home Front, which is diary entries by her grandmother Parks and letters from her father, Barry Parks, and his brother during World War II. The books that she has published are such a gift not only to her two sons, but her two nieces and to us all.
One of the things, several years ago, we created what's called a Community History and Heritage Committee. We call it the Out in the County Committee. And Susan was the chair of that committee, the first chair, and for several years, and she did a great job with that, finding really great historical places to have our meetings, like out of Mount Comfort in Cincinnati.
And we were on this committee together. That it was started by Jerry Hogan a few years ago. It's not really an official name, there might be, but we just call it the Out in the County Committee. And it's people from smaller towns and communities from Washington County, and we all meet once a month. And we just tell what's happening in the small communities, what's going on in our towns, and what projects we have working on, and our research projects, and we all just talk and get along really well. And she took over the committee a few years ago. She chaired it for a few years, and now I'm doing it. But it's just a fun committee, and the thing about Susan is that she's always working on some kind of project. Her family owns a phone booth in the middle of town in Prairie Grove. A few years ago, there was a car accident, and the phone booth got knocked over and was badly damaged. And Susan and her family had the phone booth fixed, and now it's working order again. It's still in the middle of town in Prairie Grove. And apparently it was a big deal because it made national news. And Susan worked very hard afterwards and got the phone booth listed on the national list of historical places. And one time, some of our friends decided we'd see how many could fit in that phone booth. Susan is way down here at the bottom. Alan Lord's at the top. There's Jerry Hogan, myself, Martha Estes. We're all squeezed into the phone booth. Another photo we have, this also got Madeline Rice in it too. And this one shows more of the phone booth. So we didn't break any records, but we got 5 of us history nerds in there in the phone booth, and it was a lot of fun.
I like to talk about historical threads. And Susan and her family have been prominent in Prairie Grove for a long time. And one of my favorite things is in 1968, her grandmother, Myrtle McCormick Parks, was awarded our Distinguished Citizen Award then. And so it seems to me it's very befitting that Susan would win the award now.
Susan's love for history and being such an advocate to preserve it for us all to enjoy for years to come make her so deserving for this very special award.
And once again, I admire Susan for her passion to worked so hard on her projects and her history projects and research and writing, and then to share it with other people.
So ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate Susan Park Spencer, if you don't mind giving her a round. She is very deserving. I had the privilege of getting to teach both her boys in Prairie Grove. And honestly, you don't think of Prairie Grove without thinking of the Parks or Susan's family. So thank you, Susan. And
thank you, Susan.
Just like previous, she also had an acceptance speech pre-recorded. So I will play that. It's always fun switching back and forth. Here we go.
It's such an honor to receive this award, and it's made even more special to be recognized alongside Dr. Margaret Clark, as well as this year's nominees, Shirley Spears and Frank Sharp. My dad got me interested in history through listening to his stories about what it was like growing up in rural Washington County. And later on, I had several college professors who influenced me to study history. Alan Havig from Stevens College, and Elliott West and Willard Gatewood at the University of Arkansas. There's also 3 former Washington County Historical Society board members who have truly inspired me over the years with their knowledge of Arkansas history. Tom Dillard, Ellen Compton, and Jerry Hogan. Jerry especially has really encouraged and motivated me to continue my research and writing. In closing, it's just amazing to be recognized by this organization whose members work so hard and do a great job sharing and preserving our local history. Thank you. It's such an honor.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I know Susan's not one to be in the limelight, but she truly does. She's a doer. She's always behind the scenes getting stuff done. And so I really do appreciate you. And I want to say one last time on behalf of the Washington County Historical Society Board of Directors and all of its members, congratulations, Margaret Clark and Susan Park Spencer, the 2020 Distinguished Citizen Award winners. All right, we're now moving to the 2021. We again had hoped to do this on site, and it's always more fun when we're all in one big room together and we're able to eat and enjoy the fellowship. But due to the ongoing pandemic and the safety concerns, we are doing this virtually, and we wanted to honor last year's and this year's at the on-site ceremony. But since we're not able to be on site, we're getting to recognize 4 of our Distinguished Citizen Award winners. So now let's move into the 2021, who will be our 99th and 100th Distinguished Citizen Award winners since the 70 years of our organization's founding. So we're going to start with Mr. Frank Sharp. I'll pull his video up.
Congratulations, Frank Sharp. I was really excited to hear that he'd won this award. Frank he's been cherished by the community. He's a soft-spoken, kind, gentle man, always fun to talk to, always has a story, and super smart, but just an overall great guy.
What I want to say about Frank Sharp, the thing I want to say about him right away, is at this stage, I would have to say that Frank Sharp is a Fayetteville institution at this stage. Frank's family's been here since the 40s, as my family has. I want to say one personal thing is that Frank and my sister Martha Hogan Estes were in the same Fayetteville High School class of 1956. So I didn't know him then, but we've known him all that long.
And most people in Fayetteville embrace Frank as one of theirs, but what's interesting to me, I did the oral history project for Farmington, the city of Farmington, and they said, you need to go interview Frank Sharp. And I said, well, I thought he was Fayetteville. And they said, well, we really consider him part of the community, because if it wasn't for Frank Sharp, we would have lost our post office. Because back in the day when he had his business, the smoked meats, Ozark Mountain Smokehouse, most of the stuff they would ship. And there came a time when the postage was so low through the Farmington post office, if it wasn't for Frank shipping, they wouldn't have been able to stay, they wouldn't have kept the post office. And for him, it was about the same distance, but he went ahead and did it to help the people of Farmington. And back in those days, you got to remember where Frank lives and the Ozark Mountain Smokehouse, that really was Farmington, because there wasn't a solid stream of businesses and 4 lanes or 5 lanes all the way to college.
Anyway, Frank is a conservationist and a preservationist. The conservationist, you can see with his work he's done on Mount Kessler out there, where there's the Fat Chill, the Ozark Mountain Smokehouse is in his home out there. And a preservationist, Frank and Cy Sutherland and other people helped get the old post office, the historic post office here in Fayetteville, did the paperwork and stuff to get it on the National Register of Historic Places, which is one of the reasons that it was able to save that and why we have the historic building on the square in Fayetteville.
When I did that oral history project, I got to interview Frank, and it was a lot of fun hearing his stories, his life stories, some of which I knew, some of which I didn't. I knew a lot about Frank because he was friends with my father. They went to school together and over the years had stayed in touch. So another thing the connection I had with Frank is that he sold his Ozark Mountain Smokehouse meats at Lincoln. We had a restaurant out there for many years, and we had the apples and stuff from the Apple Town, and it was kind of part of Appletown. The original owner was part of the Appletown family, but that was a big part of it, was selling that Ozark Mountain Smokehouse meats, and people would come from a long ways around to eat it there, and it was always fun.
Other things he's done is like he was on the city board of directors back in the day, which is the equivalent of the city council now. He's provided free rent to the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust in the Ozark Mountain Smokehouse building out there on Highway 62 on the way to Farmington. He was a 2009 inductee in the Fayetteville Public Education Foundation Hall of Fame. For those reasons and lots more, he's an outstanding choice for the Washington County Historical Society Distinguished Citizen Award.
He was always supportive and had a good product, but more than importantly, he was just always a friend to everyone that knew him.
So on behalf of Frank Sharp, I want to ask everyone to give him a round of applause. I don't think he was able to make it today, but he is going to watch the recording. So I want to make sure he saw all of us applauding. Again, as a Washington County board member, he opens up the Ozark Smokehouse to us for meetings, and he cooked us pizza. I mean, he literally is what I consider the best of Washington County, Mr. Fayetteville himself. So thank you, Frank, and your video that you have pre-recorded. Here you go.
Most authors end their books with an acknowledgement which lists those who helped write their books. As the final chapter of my book, which celebrates almost 8 decades on Kessler Mountain, nears its end, I'm going to take advantage of Historical Society's kind offer of letting me make remarks at your annual meeting to give some acknowledgments. An acknowledgement to Roy and Mary Sharp, who moved from Corpus Christi, Texas in 1942 with my sister Mary Ann and me to a 68-acre rocky farm on Kessler Mountain between the little county seat of Fayetteville and the tiny village of Farmington. In 1942, the mountain had a few scattered houses, and woods were used mainly for firewood cutting and hunting. Today, Kessler Mountain still has a few scattered houses, but has become a recreational mecca for baseball, soccer, hiking, running, biking, outdoor education, and other outdoor activities. An acknowledgement to the Prairie Grove Telephone Company. When we moved to the mountain, we had no telephone. Finally, we ran our own wire down to the highway, tied to insulators nailed to trees, and we had a wall-mounted phone with a manual ringer. Our number was 406F3, 2 longs and a short, and on a not very private party line. Calls to Fayetteville were long distance and very expensive. A couple times a year, Mr. Parks would come to visit and change the large 6-volt battery in the telephone. He would kindly give the old battery to us kids, which we used to power our playhouses. Today, PGTC handles our telephone and internet service, putting us in contact with the whole world. But actually, PGTC is but a small part in the modern communication industry. This allows us to listen virtually to our daughter Molly, principal violist with the Richmond Symphony, perform. It also lets her conduct international viola work sessions from her Virginia farmhouse. An acknowledgement to regional diversity. My mother studied in Mexico, taught school along the border, and loved the Mexican food and culture. She had many a dinner party and introduced friends in Arkansas to authentic Mexican food. She would relish the spice that the Hispanic community has now brought to the area. An acknowledgement to the old Ozark Mountain Smokehouse. My father started smoking turkeys in our backyard in 1946 and turned it into a small hobby business. I grew up raising and smoking these contrary birds and eventually turned it into a business. We sold by mail order and operate a chain of smokehouse stores. We had wonderful employees, mainly neighbors and students. Many ex-employees come back to a visit, and it's a joy to hear about their success in later life. We also had great customers. Everywhere I go, folks say, "I loved your smoked turkey breast. Your cream cheese Danish were my favorites." If this weren't a virtual meeting, I'd ask for a show of hands of all ex-smokehouse customers. The smokehouse enables Sarah and me to remain on the mountain and raise our family. It now enables the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust to have its headquarters in the Kessler Mountain Outdoor Classroom and Nature Center in the old smokehouse building on MLK. The Nature Center, adjacent to the woods of Kessler Mountain, hosts thousands of local third graders so they can learn to appreciate the wonders of nature. An acknowledgement to the local medical community. To the Sharp family, medical care consists of Dr. Jeff Baggett at the Bach Clinic in Prairie Grove. Today, Washington Regional Medical Center was voted the best hospital in Arkansas. Dustin, you asked me to limit my remarks to no more than 5 minutes, and I won't be able to do more than list some important institutions such as the Fayetteville Public Schools, University of Arkansas, Fayetteville City Government, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, the Fayetteville Public Library, KUAF, the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust, and Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association. Oh yeah, the Washington County Historical Society. Now I want to thank the officers and board for this very special award. I hope that when you have your 2071 annual meeting, you'll be able to celebrate the fact that Northwest Arkansas has been able to successfully integrate 500,000 new citizens into the area. At the same time that we're able to maintain our livable communities surrounded by wooded hills and valley farms. It's been a real privilege to live in Northwest Arkansas. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sharp. And he had more to say, he said, but he wanted to be respectful of everyone's time today. But we are very appreciative for all that he's done to preserve Kessler Mountain, the Ozark Smokehouse, and just being a friend to the community at large. So thank you, Mr. Sharp. And our last but never least 2021 Washington County Distinguished Citizen Award winner is Miss Shirley Spears. So I will share Shirley's video. I think Shirley's here with us today too.
I was really excited when I heard Shirley Spears was nominated for this award. She's always been real supportive in her community, in her church, and in her school district, and in the county.
Shirley is always in the middle of stuff, and she and Samantha, my daughter, were the ones that started the historical group at Cincinnati. When Samantha passed, well, Shirley took over that, and she is very good at management, and she keeps us all going.
When I got involved with doing stuff with the Historical Society, I realized what a leader she had turned in to be in the historic preservation and records on the west end of the county. And even though she didn't grow up in Cincinnati, she embraced the history of the area and was kind of the one to tell it.
She just loves history. I have to be honest and say I'm not as gung-ho as she is. But we still come back together, and her good points are hers and mine is mine, and we just work them out together.
I did some interviews one time in 2019 about narrative history of some of the towns, including Cincinnati. And Shirley was very helpful in getting pictures ready and in getting people to interview. And I went back and took a look at those, and she didn't want to be interviewed herself, and saying that, oh, she didn't know enough about it, but everyone recognized that she really was a true expert on it and wanted her to do it. But she was always the one that wanted others to get the credit and recognition for stuff and work behind the scenes. And I think that's real telling of her character. You know, does a lot, but doesn't want to be the one in the limelight.
It's just a warm, welcoming group, and they do their best to record and maintain the histories of Cincinnati, Lincoln, Summers, and Weddington, and other communities in the area.
It's not easy to go on with a program like this because we've never had anything in Cincinnati. And since where we're at, we're kind of forgotten. This is bringing it back because Cincinnati used to be a really going town.
Some of the things they've done is they've worked on a Cincinnati timeline. They've tried to do an inventory of the historical Union Cemetery. And they've also done, with the help of Susan Park Spencer, another one of our distinguished citizen award winners, they got the Harrell Cemetery, which is real nearby, got that put on the Arkansas Register of Historic Places. They've also done a lot of work on the history of the town, you know, the stores, shops, things like that. And they put out a book called Three Longs and a Short. It's about the Cincinnati Telephone Company that exists, I believe, up to about 1960.
With the fire department that's down there now, and we have a community room that we can have dinners and stuff, and so Shirley's real good to help with that. We have, up until last year, it's been going on for about 60 years. The last few times we've had over 300 people come for it. So it's, and it's bringing the communities together. It's a place where we can go and be neighbors, and Westfield's coming in, Lincoln's coming in, Weddington's coming in, Nicodemus. All these people are starting to come in and mesh, and that's what we need to do, is to help each other. And it's a very giving community, and we've done like several dinners for people that have had fires, and one we raised nearly $40,000, and the other one about $38,000. So that's saying a lot for small communities, but we may be the end of the road down there, but we're not forgotten.
And with those things in mind, I just have to say, for those reasons and lots more, Shirley Spears is an absolutely great choice for the Washington County Historical Society Distinguished Citizen Award.
Congratulations, Shirley. You've earned this award, and I'm glad you're getting recognized.
She just is really a good old gal, and I just appreciate her very much for what she does in the community and as a friend, most of all.
So would you please join me in congratulating Shirley Spears, our 2021 Distinguished Award Citizen Award winner.
Congratulations, Shirley.
Congrats, Shirley.
And Shirley has also pre-recorded her acceptance speech. So
Congratulations, Shirley, and thank you to everyone. It's a wonderful meeting.
all right, here is Shirley's acceptance speech.
Hello, I'm Shirley Spears, and thank you for the opportunity to accept this award from the Washington County Historical Society. I was pretty excited and amazed and surprised, but I do appreciate it, and I want to thank your organization, because we've been members a long time, and I guess it's our organization. I want to thank your president, Mr. Spillers, and I want to thank you for helping me get things kind of organized. I want to thank Cherie Coley for nominating me. That was really nice. And I also want to thank your two of your board members, that Jerry Hogan and Susan Park Spencer. They've been so instrumental in the Washington County group, and they've also been really inspirational in our Cincinnati research group. So we're real thankful for them. I kind of just wanted to say wow when I heard this, and I thought, well, that might not be quite appropriate, but we'll go from there. It has been an honor, and part of my life has been giving to others instead of taking awards. So this is a little bit different in my life. We have a membership here, as I said a while ago, and we've always followed that. And between that and the Cincinnati Heritage Research Group, well, it's kind of spurred us to. We've had a little more time in retirement, so that's kind of spurred our interest to push that a little bit and to tell people more about the rural aspect of Washington County. And we're out there, and there's lots of history. So you might want to know a little bit about me. I grew up Shirley Martin, and now I'm Shirley Martin Spears. I grew up south of Lincoln, went to Lincoln School, and graduated there, and also retired from there. So I've had a long history with Lincoln Schools. I married Bobby Jack Spears, and we've lived in Lincoln, and we also now live in Cincinnati, and he's a good husband. We have 3 children, and we have Marty and Mark and Jeannie, and they're the biggest accomplishments I think we have in our life, and so we're proud of them. They also have blessed us with grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, so I think we've kind of made history in the making here, so we're excited about that. My husband and I have been married 61 years, so we've shared a lot of interest, and we have a lot in common. We both like history, and we both like rural people, and we both like to see people have a good time, and to learn, and it seems like that's more what it's all about. We have been really interested in our church. We've served both in Lincoln and in Summers, and it's good, and God's people bring together and help spread His word. We have done some history things. We've compiled some genealogy books, and more than I'd like to think about sometimes, and we keep collecting stories from the Cincinnati group, and I think that that's such a neat group of people, and we can't thank them enough. So my family and the historians and the people in general are just part of our lives. That's kind of what makes us who we are. When we moved to Cincinnati, which is Bobby Jack's hometown, several of us have talked over the years about, we need to just start a group and just work on that. Well, you know how those kind of groups go. They're really good ideas, but too too many times we don't follow through with it. And that's what we were doing with ours. But in 2014, we organized our group, and kind of what sparked that was we had a Cincinnati grown girl. We called her girl. She's a lady now, or was, but she and her husband moved back to Cincinnati, and she wanted people to get together and talk about old times and talk about things. And she was so excited about it and so excited about coming back home. And so when several of us were visiting with each other, we decided that that was definitely something that we needed to promote. So we kind of pushed her, and she led us, and we were very thankful for that. She had that spark that you need to get things done, and we appreciated her so much. It's been pretty awesome. And so during this time, since Samantha also got the interest of Washington County Historical Society, she was asked to serve on your board of directors, and she did. And she and I both were asked to serve on the Out in the Country committee, and that's just been a good thing. And we go out in places in the country, and we also tell about what we're doing in our segment of the county. And now I don't know whether I said out in the country or out in the county, because I intermingled them, but I think it's supposed to be out in the county. Now to represent our group, we have Catherine Venable in it to begin with. We had Samantha Barnes Paul that represented it along with myself. We're proud of that. But then the next year, a couple of things happened. One, Samantha's dad was really sick, and he passed away at the end of that year. And it was a heartbreaking thing, but life goes on, and it's tough, but it goes on. And then Samantha got sick, and she had various illnesses, and at the end of 2015, she passed away. And it was just devastating for us, for our community, our families, our interest in that. But we've kind of picked up, and we've kind of gone on. I was serving as vice president, so in the process of that, it kind of pushed me to the front and pushed me to pick up the pieces and go on. And we have such good cooperation and good help that it makes that exciting to do. And that's how we met Jerry Hogan at a meeting in Lincoln, and it was just instant friendship. I don't even know how we happened to meet, but it was good, and we have so enjoyed Susan and their part here and their part with us, and they've really been a contribution to it. We've struggled a little without Samantha because she was just a born leader, but we have gone on. We have kept at it, and it's been good. And I know that y'all do so much up here to promote this, and I don't know how they would function well without you. So I'd like to challenge you to keep on sharing your history, to share it with everybody you come along to. One of the things I regretted the most when our oldest little grandchildren came was we probably didn't tell them enough about grandparents and great-grandparents and where they've lived and what they've done. So as the others come along, we've kind of made it a point to say, well, now if you'll remember back, so-and-so, they probably get tired of it, but someday they'll remember it and they'll be glad that they did. So we're going to challenge everyone to share that history just a little bit more. And one of the reasons why we like to share history is my husband, Bobby Jack, and I both lost our fathers when we were young. And there's nothing we like more than people telling us about our fathers and our families back then. Because I have a little bit of memory of my dad, but he doesn't have any of his. And it's so nice when somebody says, I remember when your dad used to do so and so, and they have some pretty wild tales sometimes, but it's good. It's good to know that somebody cared and that he was a good person and shared that. So I'm hoping that we all keep on sharing our history and pulling people in and using them, and I think that that'll make a difference. And on a little lighter note, we, as you know, and we all do, with that deal with history, you get into some dusty old documents, and you visit tumble down buildings and go down dirt roads and prowl around at cemeteries, and just about the time you're just intently thinking about something, one of our children says, "Mom, are you playing with those dead people again?" So that's kind of the support I have in our life. But again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your confidence in giving me this award, and a thank you for the Washington County Historical Society and what you've meant to Washington County. And I appreciate it very much.
All right. Thank you, Shirley. And I hope everyone will accept Shirley's challenge to preserve our local history, your family history. Thank you, Shirley, for giving us that challenge. We're coming up to the end of our program. I want to first give one more final congratulations to all four of our distinguished citizens, Shirley, Susan, Margaret, and Frank. Thank you all. As a former civics teacher, although I think I'm still a civics teacher, you truly, all four, represent the best of our communities. You're decent, you're good people, you're doers, you're helpers. Yeah, you've all accepted challenges. You've never said no. You volunteered, you fundraised, you've advocated for civil rights. You're just good people. And I think that's what, as a civics teacher, we try to instill in our students every day. And so this is my favorite part of our program, is where we get to honor and recognize all of your contributions throughout your lives to make Washington County, Arkansas a better place to live. So thank you all four for all that you've done. Moving on to the last few parts, I also want to thank John Irwin, who's our videographer, for all the videos that you saw. We asked for all those that were featured in the video to come to the Historical Society headquarters house. We tried to be as safe as possible, and trying to organize all this during a COVID pandemic for safety issues was a challenge, but we did it, as you saw. So we will be sharing our videos on social media. And again, for those that might have missed today's annual membership meeting. So thanks, John, for that. And thanks for those that allowed us to interview them for the videos. And I also would like to thank you all for tuning in today on a Sunday afternoon. Even though we're not together, it is still fun to see all your faces, and it's inspiring to listen to all the stories and the acceptance of our distinguished citizens today. Plus our prize winners for our writing journals and flashback articles. I will like to also say congratulations to our new board of directors. I know Leanne would like me to probably plug, as our new president, that we have our first board meeting next Monday, not tomorrow, but next Monday, October the 11th, at the Education Co-op in Farmington. More information will be shared out for that, so be on the lookout for our new board members. And thank you all those that are joining us via Zoom and Facebook, because we are literally making history today with our first Facebook Live annual membership meeting. So with that said, I think I will entertain an adjournment and conclude today's program. I don't think I need a motion, but there's Lisa, a motion, D seconds. All right. All those in favor, wave, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.